Can you please let me stay just for tonight? Standing at the front door, my 9-year-old grandson, Sean, soaked to the bone, cradling a baby, made Ryan and me exchange surprised looks. Sean had walked all this way in the torrential rain, carrying a baby. Why was he doing something like this? Doubts swirled in my chest, but I was too shocked by the surreal situation to figure out how to extract the story from Sean. Meanwhile, Ryan next to me was fuming, saying, "I can't handle taking care of them." Right after, Ryan grasped a golf club that was by the front door, his face contorting into something fierce. Sean started shaking at the sight of Ryan. I hadn't expected Ryan to suddenly explode in anger, and with Sean right there, I was flustered. This is bad. I need to do something. I was desperately thinking of a way to defuse the situation. My name is Yvonne. I'm a 67-year-old homemaker. I live with my husband Ryan, who is 2 years older than me. Ryan was a musician until about 5 years ago. His cool persona, singing with a husky voice behind sunglasses, was popular among the young folks, and of course, I was a fan of Ryan too. Even now, as we've aged, Ryan is so stylish and he's my pride and joy. Personality-wise, he likes things to be black and white. He trusts those he believes in to the fullest, but once he's turned his back on someone, he never mends the relationship. For better or worse, he's an easy man to understand. We met through an event, but now we're a close-knit couple, grateful that a famous person like Ryan fell for an ordinary woman like me. However, up until 9 years ago, we lived with our son. His name is Harry. He will be turning 30 this year, but it's been so long since we've seen him, I can't even remember the last time we celebrated his birthday. Harry was a real daddy's boy, clinging to Ryan, who was busy with work, and they would always go out together on the rare days off. Ryan loved Harry, who was fond of him, and no matter how tired he was, they would play catch in the park or Ryan would teach him the guitar. I would watch their playtime with a warm smile. Aside from the fact that Ryan was famous, we were just an ordinary, happy family. Harry wasn't much of a scholar. But, being a homemaker myself and with Ryan being an artist, we never felt the need to push him too hard in his studies. It's okay to have just one thing you're good at. If you polish it a bit more than others, it can become your job. Okay, Dad. Following Ryan's advice, Harry continued to pursue his love for baseball. However, Harry's dream was shattered during the summer of his senior year in high school. He got hit by a pitch and injured his shoulder. The doctors said he could never play baseball again. Though they said it wouldn't affect his daily life much, there were inconveniences, like not being able to raise his arm to grab the subway strap, and I couldn't help but feel sorry for him, yet somewhere in my heart, I might have been relieved. Only a handful of people make it to the professional level in baseball. It seemed sensible to consider other paths while there was still time, something I had quietly hoped for. Ryan seemed at a loss for words. He had followed his own teachings and put his all into baseball. Now that baseball was no longer an option for Harry, it must have been hard to show him which path to take. Still, we supported Harry. It didn't have to be baseball. As long as Harry was healthy and happy, that was enough for us. After losing the ability to play baseball, Harry was understandably down. But he managed to get into the college of his choice and became a college student. Ryan and I cried tears of joy when we saw Harry getting back to his cheerful self. Harry, who was usually not very talkative, must have felt something stirring in his heart when he saw us crying because he just cried along with us without saying a word. It was when Harry was 21 years old that we ended up living apart from him. Since Harry was attending a local college, he was still living at home, but one day he told us with a serious look, "I've decided to get married. I'll be leaving this house tomorrow." The word marriage suddenly coming from Harry took us completely by surprise. "Marriage? What about college?" Harry answered calmly, "I'm gonna drop out." "Drop out? But what about a job?" "I'll start job hunting. I'm sure I can get into some company." "Is your partner okay with this? Have you met her parents?" "Kelly doesn't have parents. That's why she wants to get married soon." Watching Harry's optimistic thinking, I started to worry. Ryan, standing next to me, was folding his arms and seemed deep in thought. I looked at Ryan, seeking some support. After a pause, Ryan said something unexpected. "If you think it's okay, then go ahead and do as you like." "Hey." I tried to get Ryan to take his words back, but the next moment, I saw Harry's eyes light up, and I swallowed my words. "Thanks, Dad. And Mom, thank you for everything up till now." Harry left those words behind and packed up his belongings to leave the house the next day. I was stunned, unable to accept reality. Ryan said, "It's okay." He might not have been great at studying, but he had the grit to continue baseball seriously. He'll manage just fine in married life. Do you think so? I hope you're right. It seemed Ryan was proud of having raised Harry to be a fine person. Of course, I didn't think our parenting was a failure. But as a parent, I couldn't help feeling anxious about whether young Harry could manage a married life well. And at that moment, I had no idea that this anxiety would only grow. Harry never brought his wife, a woman named Kelly, to our home. No matter how many times I contacted Harry to bring them over, I didn't even get a receipt, let alone a reply. It might have been better if we could have visited him directly, but we didn't even know the condo where Harry and his wife were living. The day he said he was leaving home came so suddenly, we didn't have the chance to ask where he was going. I hadn't thought we would completely lose the opportunity to see him, so I wasn't too worried, thinking we could ask him later. But not being able to contact Harry was a different story. You haven't heard back from Harry, have you? Well, I thought maybe Ryan, being a man, might have an easier time getting in touch with him, but it seems he hasn't received a reply either. Well, maybe they're just busy right now. Let's wait a little longer. Yeah. At that time, we still had faith in Harry. But about 3 months after Harry left home, I heard something unbelievable. It happened when I was shopping at the local supermarket. I happened to run into Mrs. Turner from next door inside the supermarket, and she said to me, "Congratulations, Yvonne! I heard you became a grandmother." What? The unfamiliar word grandchild took me by surprise, and I looked at Mrs. Turner twice. Huh? Am I wrong? The other day, I passed by Harry and a woman who seemed to be his wife. They were pushing a stroller. I greeted them, though they weren't very friendly. I haven't seen them recently, so maybe they've forgotten about me. Oh. I felt as if I had wandered into the world of a drama, listening to Mrs. Turner's story. According to her, it was definitely Harry she had passed by. Harry hasn't changed much in appearance over the years, so someone who has met him once would probably not mistake him for someone else. Actually, I haven't been able to get in touch with Harry since he left home. I'm embarrassed to say that I just found out about the grandchild now. Is that so? Well, it's shocking they didn't tell you such important news. Mrs. Turner was surprised by my confession. Of course, she would be. It's absurd not to know about the birth of one's grandchild. That night, I told Ryan exactly what Mrs. Turner had told me. We have a grandchild? So, he already had a child when he got married. That's why he was in such a hurry to leave home. Ryan was surprised to learn about the grandchild, but he seemed relieved to have figured out why Harry had suddenly married and left home. This is no time to feel relieved. If we have a grandchild, I want to properly celebrate and see their faces. Yeah, but we don't even know where they live. That was the problem. We still received no replies from Harry. I wonder if he found a job. If he had, contacting his workplace could be an option, but if we knew where he worked, we wouldn't be having this problem. Mrs. Turner said she met them, so they can't be living too far away. Mrs. Turner has bad legs and usually doesn't go far. Since she met them, it's likely they don't live too far away. Anyway, we just have to keep trying to contact him. He'll break eventually. Maybe he hasn't found a job yet and his pride is getting in the way. Do you think so? Ryan seemed to still believe in Harry. I want to believe in my child too, but not reporting the birth of a child to one's parents is just unconscionable, no matter how you look at it. Kelly, his wife, would normally suggest visiting the in-laws to greet them. Whether they didn't do that, or Harry didn't listen to Kelly, I couldn't see time solving this. Unbelievably, 9 years passed without us meeting Harry or the grandchild. We did manage to get in touch with Harry a few times during those years. Whether it was a whim or not, he only told us that he had a child named Sean. Whenever we tried to find out their address or workplace, he wouldn't tell us anything more. What is he really up to? Even Ryan started to lose trust in Harry after 9 years of sporadic communication. He wasn't completely giving up on him, but he was frustrated that even when he reached out, he got no reply. I felt the same as Ryan. I guess there might be some reason why they weren't contacting us, but not contacting or seeing us at all might mean they no longer think of us as their parents. Feeling this way makes me wonder. What has happened since they got married? There might have been events they couldn't even share with us. But without any contact, there's no way we can offer help. I found myself feeling weighed down whenever I thought about Harry. Around that time, the world seemed grim due to rising costs and political distrust, with the news reporting an increase in murder cases and burglaries. Living just the two of us, elderly, made me vaguely worry about getting caught up in such incidents. Then, the situation took a sudden turn one day during a heavy rainstorm. Neither Ryan nor I could have anticipated what was about to happen. It was on a weekday evening. The rain had been terrible since morning, and our area had been declared at risk of flooding. If the heavy rain continued, we might have had to evacuate. The downpour was so fierce that it seemed to darken the outside world completely. We had prepared our bags to leave the house if an evacuation order was issued, and just as we finished packing, the doorbell rang. Maybe it's a delivery? No delivery would come on such a day, Ryan replied with certainty. And he was right. Delivery services might be suspended due to the storm. So, who could it be? I checked outside the front door, but no one was there. There's nobody there. What's going on? Could it be some kind of prank? But it seemed unlikely anyone would come out just to play a prank on such a day. Curious and a bit scared, I cautiously went to the door and opened it slightly, with Ryan watching anxiously. Are you Grandma? I was speechless at the sight of the person standing outside. It was a child, about the age of an elementary school student. They were wearing a raincoat and holding a baby close to their chest. The baby was wrapped in a raincoat, but its face was drenched by the rain, crying weakly. I was on the verge of panic when the child said, "Are you Grandma?" It snapped me back to reality. Could you be Sean? When I asked, he nodded slightly. Is that baby your brother or sister? He nodded again to my question. What's going on? What's all this about? Ryan appeared behind me, trying to make sense of the situation. I was just as clueless. I wanted to ask Sean so many questions, but he looked so anxious, it seemed wrong to press him for answers. Sean looked back and forth between Ryan and me before saying in a weak voice, "Can you please let me stay just for tonight?" Standing at the front door, my 9-year-old grandson, Sean, soaked to the bone, cradling a baby, made Ryan and me exchange surprised looks. Sean had walked all this way in the torrential rain, carrying a baby. Why was this boy doing something like this? Doubts swirled in my chest, but I was too shocked by the surreal situation to figure out how to extract the story from Sean. Meanwhile, Ryan next to me was fuming, saying, "I can't handle taking care of them." Right after, Ryan grasped a golf club that was by the front door, his face contorting into something fierce. Sean started shaking at the sight of Ryan. I hadn't expected Ryan to suddenly explode in anger, and with Sean right there, I was flustered. Ryan had lost trust in his son, Harry, who had not been in touch for a long time. Furthermore, it probably took him a while to accept Sean, Harry's child. This is bad. I need to do something. I was desperately thinking of a way to defuse the situation. Ryan, put that golf club down. Sean is scared. Ryan looked at Sean's face and lowered the golf club, saying, "Oh, right." I breathed a sigh of relief. Ryan must have had a lot on his mind with the sudden turn of events. It didn't seem like he was seriously considering throwing Sean out. Perhaps what softened Ryan's heart was seeing Sean trembling while holding the baby. "Sean, come on in first. Let's get you dried off and into the room," I asked him in the gentlest voice I could muster. At that, Sean started to cry right there. I took the baby from Sean and led him to the bathroom. Ryan, looking unsure of what to do, watched our movements. While Sean was in the bathroom, I pondered how to get the necessities for taking care of the baby. Then, Ryan said he'd go out to buy what we needed, so I thanked him and told him to be careful. Ryan, too, must have had a change of heart after seeing Sean trembling and the baby crying. Right now, all we could do was create a calming environment for the two of them. When Ryan returned from shopping, Sean had just come out of the bathroom. I pulled out some old clothes that Harry used to wear from the dresser for Sean to wear. Sean accepted the clothes with a shy thank you. I served the juice Ryan had brought, and for the baby, I made a bottle of milk. As we did this, Sean seemed to calm down and looked ready to talk about what had happened. I exchanged a look with Ryan, and we decided to ask Sean what had happened. "Dad and Mom went to work again today. I just wanted to leave that house. I ran away while they weren't home," Sean said, his voice breaking as he recounted his experiences at home. From what Sean told us, it was clear. Sean had never felt kindness from Harry or his mother from a young age, always being yelled at. He was barely given enough food and never got the toys he wanted. Harry lived in constant fear, always wary of his parents' moods, even at school. Sean had almost no memories of his birth mother, Kelly. Harry had apparently divorced her at some point. The current mom was Mia, a woman Harry had remarried 3 years ago. The baby, a girl named Anna, born 2 months ago, was Sean's half-sister. Mia is working in the nightlife industry. She was harsh in appearance and demeanor, especially towards Sean, who was not her biological child. She completely neglected Anna, leaving all the caregiving tasks, like diaper changes and feeding, to Sean. Harry was no different, not caring for the children either. Ryan and I were astounded by the harsh reality Sean revealed. We had no idea that Harry had divorced Kelly or that he had remarried 3 years ago. Mia, from Sean's description, didn't seem like a decent person. Something must have happened to Harry after he left home because his character seemed to have changed drastically. Mia remarrying someone like her tells the whole story. Both Ryan and I were almost crushed by the fact that Harry, our son we trusted and raised, was being harsh on Sean, not to mention not caring for his children at all. "Is that really true?" Ryan's eyes were bloodshot. Unable to accept the reality that his grandson was being put through such an ordeal by his own son. I understood that feeling all too well. "Yeah. Dad is always angry, saying the previous mom ran away with all the money. He always says with a scary face that he wishes he had never married her. But I'm more scared of Dad. The current mom doesn't think of me as her son either." And Sean paused there, unsure whether to continue. We swallowed hard, waiting for his next words. "Dad and Mom, they say they don't have money, so they go into other people's houses to steal. They told me to stay quiet at home because they were going out to work stealing money today. They threatened me, saying they knew what would happen if I told anyone. I decided to run away to Grandma's house because I thought they wouldn't expect me to run away on such a rainy day. It took me 2 hours to walk here, but it wasn't hard because all I wanted was to escape from them." Sean's story was almost unbelievable. But thinking that Harry was still thinking straight seemed even more dangerous now. I was filled with a desire to believe in Sean, who had come all this way soaking wet, holding Anna. "You've been through so much. Grandma and Grandpa will definitely help you." "Absolutely. Stealing is outrageous. What on earth is Harry thinking?" Ryan was outraged, but I calmed him down while trying to think of a way to confront Harry and Mia. I know the house where Dad and Mom are going to rob tonight. They talked about their plan at night, thinking I wouldn't understand because I'm just a kid. Sean revealed, making us gasp. Is that true? Yes. I even took notes. Look. Sean pulled out a note with an address written on it from the pocket of the pants he had taken off earlier, showing it to us. Seeing the note, Ryan and I exchanged nods. All right, we're going there. Don't worry, Sean, we're with you. Okay, Grandpa. Sean replied, causing Ryan to blush and chuckle, being called Grandpa. Then, clutching the golf club once again, we got into the car, heading towards the house Sean had told us about. The house was about an hour's drive away. Located in a quiet residential area where each home looked like it belonged to someone wealthy. The rain stopped while we were on our way, and the evacuation order for our area was lifted. This is the place, Ryan said as we parked the car a short distance from the target house and walked towards the house where Harry was supposed to be burglarizing. Ryan, gripping the golf club, led the way to the gate. I was holding Anna, who was sound asleep, in my arms. Entering would make us guilty of trespassing too, so we peeked into the house from the yard and saw two figures moving inside. However, we hesitated, wondering if they might still be the homeowners, until Sean exclaimed, "That's Dad and Mom," and we were convinced. Ryan took a deep breath and shouted, "Harry." In the meantime, I finished calling the police. Harry and Mia stopped in their tracks. They had no way out without running into us, whether through the front door or a window in the yard. Harry was probably debating what to do with Mia. But after Ryan shouted again, "Come out now, or I'm calling the police," they seemed to give up and came out through the front door. Not knowing I had already called the police. "What's going on? Why is Sean here?" Seeing us, Harry's face turned pale. Mia, just as flashy and intimidating as Sean had described, was not the kind of woman you'd want to get close to. I felt like being around her could only have a bad influence. "Harry, what are you doing?" Sean came to our house this evening with Anna, saying he didn't want to stay home anymore. "After hearing everything from Sean, we found out you've been burglarizing homes. That's why we decided to catch you." "What? Sean, what are you doing?" Harry stormed towards Sean, anger in his steps, and raised his fist. Sean braced himself, closing his eyes tight. "Stop right there. If you lay a hand on Sean, I won't forgive you." Ryan grabbed Harry's arm, making him click his tongue and lower it. "All of you are making no sense. Stop interfering with our work. Sean, you're eating because we're working. Why are you getting in the way?" Harry cursed Sean with venomous words. This man bore no resemblance to the Harry I knew, making me wonder when he had turned into such a terrible person. Initially, Sean trembled at Harry's words. But, perhaps feeling bolstered by our presence, he defiantly glared at Harry. "I've always done whatever Dad and Mom wanted. I had to take care of Anna because you two wouldn't. Even the jobs you were doing, I hated them but couldn't say anything. That's not a real job. It's a crime. I don't want to live with criminals anymore." Sean confessed through tears, viewing Harry and Mia not as his parents but as criminals. "What are you saying? After all, we've done raising you. With such disrespect, you're no child of ours." They spat back disdainfully. Ryan and I couldn't take it anymore. "Raising him? When have you ever raised him?" Ryan's voice was menacing, making Harry and Mia flinch. "Exactly. We heard nothing from you for so long, and now we find you've put our grandson through this. Apologize to Sean right now, or we'll hand you over to the police this instant." I shouted, intending to scare them, though the police had already been alerted. But what a joke! Why should we apologize for him? I never wanted a kid like this. Imagine being forced to take care of someone else's child. They continued to resist. I was close to giving up, thinking nothing could change Harry and Mia's hearts. When the police approached. "This is the police. What's happening here?" an officer stepped out of the patrol car, to whom I explained the situation. Harry and Mia, stunned by the sudden appearance of the police, were speechless. After hearing from me, the officers moved to arrest Harry and Mia, putting them into the patrol car.
Hey, what's going on? When did you call the cops? Yes, it is. You're a coward for playing dirty tricks on us.
Harry and Mia protested loudly. Ryan and I exchanged looks, both of us sighing in disbelief. Even caught in the act by the police, the two seemed unrepentant, not realizing the gravity of their actions. I watched the unfolding situation, feeling a surge of determination to protect Sean at all costs.
What? That's rich coming from you. Abusing children, not doing any honest work, and resorting to this. If anything, you're the cowards. Do you have any idea how many people you've made suffer because of what you've done? Reflect on your actions in prison,
I declared firmly. At that, Harry and Mia had nothing to say and were dragged into the car by the police. We followed the questioning. I held Sean's hand and carefully did not wake Aina, praying for a brighter future for our family. After the questioning, we were released and all went back home. Harry and Mia, it turned out, had committed as many as 30 burglaries. Harry had not held a stable job for years, resorting to burglary instead, which is why he couldn't contact us. The burglaries reported in the news lately were their doing. It was almost too much to take in. But seeing Harry's changed demeanor for the first time in years, it made sense. Since his first marriage, Harry had struggled with job hunting, leading him to bad company after becoming resentful. Kelly, his first wife, had left him, and after that, he increasingly took his frustrations out on Sean. Sean always lived in fear of Harry's attacks. Mia, his new partner and equally a troublemaker, only added to Sean's stress. This explosion of stress led Sean to seek refuge with us. Harry and Mia now await sentencing for their crimes, facing serious charges for the repeated burglaries. Since they had repeatedly burglarized the house 30 times, the charges would be quite serious. We've decided to cut ties with Harry and resolved never to assist them again, no matter what. Having never worked properly, they'll likely struggle just to live. They'd do well to taste the hardship of earning money through honest work. We've vowed never to let the children see them again. We decided to take in Sean and Anna. Mia's parents aren't exactly upstanding citizens either, having been in trouble with the law themselves, and showing little ability to care for Mia's children. So, Ryan and I decided to take both Sean and Anna. Sean loves Anna, and I think he's relieved they won't be separated. Ryan, for his part, has grown very fond of Sean, showering both him and Anna with love and affection. It looks like he's going to be quite the doting grandfather. Now, a new chapter begins for our family of 4. Considering all the sadness Sean has endured, we want to do everything we can to ensure both he and Anna experience as much happiness as possible.